Now we have to go off and take care of this one here. Now this is the main bolt connector that connects the float bowl to the main body there. This rubber washer, used to be rubber, it's just a tainted piece of junk. So we got to get rid of that one. We throw that in the recycle bin. And make sure we have our washer on here. Pull that washer down, make sure it's straight along the head, make sure it's nice and flat. It is. And now what we want to do is put our new plastic piece. You believe that? They started off rubber, plastic's more reliable. You got to get this dead on there. It can't be kind of close, it needs to be right on the money. And that shaft needs to be clean. Okay, now we push that down to here or there, see? Okay. Now we're going to grab the throttle body here. And that's going to go right into this hole right here. And with the, notice that I put the bushing with the little step out, because that step has to step into the carburetor base there. So there we go. So now we have that pushed in there. Now we're going to take this side of the carburetor body and we're going to line up that little black slot there and this little slot here, and relax that bolt a little bit. And there we go. That's how that connects, just like that. Okay, so I have that connected here, hoping you can see it. And then over here I've got to tweedle that down. So we're just going to run that little bolt down there all the way down until we're feeling good about it. Okay, there she is. Now you have to snug this up until you get this body tight to that body. So I'm going to take my wrench here and I'm going to run it down. This is one of my favorite wrenches. And we're going to just run that down a little bit like that there. Okay, now I got that nice and snug. Ran that down tight. I got the washer in there. You can see it's got a little pooch to it. Now let's go to the bottom over here. And let's put in the centering system for the jet there. What we want to do is replicate this little system here. Used to look like that. It's tattered and torn. It goes into there. So we're just going to rebuild it. We got a kit. So what we want to have to do there first, there we go, is this is the main primary system that the jet actually runs up and down in. So this will be inside your carburetor right at the bottom. When you look inside there, in the very top of the carburetor, you're going to see that little piece right there. And that system there of adjustment in and out is how you richen it up. If it's lower, then you'll be lower on your needle. And if you're lower on your needle, that's where the needle rides. So if you're lower on your needle there, I'm clumsy at this, sorry about that. If you're lower on your needle there, then you'll be richer. The farther this goes away, the richer it gets because the needle's tapered. Okay, so that's our basics. There, so we put this back. Let's take a minute here. Make sure we don't hurt anything. We're almost done with this baby. So what we're going to do here, we start with this piece, the jet holder, jet centering device, And the first thing that we have to do with the jet centering device, pardon me, is we have to decide that's the upside. So we're going to put a washer, aluminum gasket style washer, could be copper. We're going to put that on there first. And then we're going to put, god darn it, too much crap on there. And then we're going to take our centering nut, if you will. We're going to slap that baby on there. Then we have to put on a spring. And then we put on the last nut here. That nut is the nut that raises and lowers the not the needle, but the jet itself, so that you can enrich it. So we just set it wherever you want it there. That's good right there. So now we've replicated this piece. We'll set that off to the side. Now, this piece is going to go right in here, right in the main body there. And I am not going to tighten that because, and I'm not going to run this one around that much, because we're going to make an adjustment on the jet before we're done, according to the needle. And then once we have the needle sliding properly through the body here, might as well just do it now. Oh, we can't do it now. So once we have this assembly sliding properly with itself, then we can go ahead and run that one down. Then we can adjust this one for the height of where the needle rides. What we need to do first, before we get too excited there, is we need to put the slide indicator in. This is the little screw. That's the little slide indicator, and this rail here, made of brass, very kind of ingenious, sits right here in the body and allows for the main piston assembly here to slide up and down. So that's the main guide for this right here. So what we need to do is we're going to step over to the toolbox. You do not want to get that into your engine compartment. That would be a major bummer. And some engines would actually probably just spit it out and send it away, but there's some steel in there. So we're going to use some number 2, it's not number 2, it's red high strength Loctite. In the old days we used a different device for fixing this. So we're just going to put a little drop. I like to spread it around on there, make sure it's on there correctly. Yeah, this part number is actually 27100. And so we just put that on there. We're going to set this in this hole right here. These came peened from the factory, but you will not find, you won't be able to peen that very easily because it's inside the carburetor body itself, part of the main housing. And so what I do is, once again, grab your little snap-on over here, just reliable, and crank that baby down, and don't hurt it. That's one reason, once again, that we like our snap-on tools, is that it's a precision edge that's not going to wear off. So when I go to tighten something intricate like this, I have a nice complete edge here. I'm not going to foul that edge in trying to get this on some cheap tool with a rounded edge to get it in there and have it lock on. This snap-on tool is perfect for that, and they stay with those till the end. Now what we want to do is we can go ahead and set our piston in there. Once again, we can see this same channel that we talked about earlier, and now we have the guide in there. So now we can slide this in there, and actually before I do that, I'm going to just put this I'm going to go ahead and start the jet assembly. Make sure that you have on this end here, you need the rubber piece to go into the carburetor first, and then there's the aluminum bushing there. That's important that you have that washer. It's not a bushing, it's a washer. This is the actual brass nut that goes into the carburetor float body right here. And so I just turn that like this. That's about the right spacing there. You want about 1/4 of an inch. You can see it's going to fit in there nicely. And you just stab it in there strongly. And then run this nut down. And get that nut started cleanly. Do not get it cross-threaded. You'll think you ran into a disaster. And then put the jet in there. Now we can go ahead and tighten that up. When I'm done tightening this, we're going to double check and we're going to yank on this and see if I can yank that out of there. I've been able to yank them out of here before. Thankfully I've never had a fire, but if you can yank this out, or it falls out for any reason, it shouldn't technically, but if you can yank that hose out of here and the nut's still left in there, all the fuel will just drain right by the exhaust manifold, and you'll have a little get-together going on. This screw here is for the choke assembly, the mechanical part. Once again, the linkage is going to pull that jet down. Not concerned about that. The height is about right. It's down about a 1/16. That's about where I start, and that's a pretty nice setting. You can look in there and see there's jets down there about a 1/16. By rotating this lower collar, you can raise and lower it. I really like to run about 2% CO. Okay, now my middle adjuster just came loose because I was messing with it. So while we're here, let's go ahead and fasten this down. That's going to take the 3/4 inch snap-on wrench, and let's go ahead and put our main piston in there. There we go. I'll show you one more time, and that slips once again right over a little piece we just put in there. A little guide. Okay, now that is very smooth going up and down, and the piston right here is seating against the bottom of the body. You can see that. So, and I love to hear that little sound. That means you've got a good contact down there. So now we know that the axis is correct. And then I'm going to just grab my 3/4 inch snap-on wrench here. And we're just going to tighten that down a little bit there. And then, once I get it tightened just a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and use my snap-on British standard wrench to actually clamp that into final position. 3/4 will get you nice and tight though. So now we've got the jet is centered, so that when we use this, the piston is free. Move up and down, we're all set. The main metering device, once again being that needle,